The Bystials have been confirmed in the game of Master Duel, and they are gonna have a major impact on the meta. Beyond that, we also have Cartesia and Grand Guignol, which are gonna completely change everything about Branded. Also, they pre-hit the 2 best Bystials already, so this is crazy. Let's talk about everything. Also, quick reminder to subscribe, because like these cards might actually be better than Ishizu tier once you put everything together. I know this is a hot take, but once you see the combo videos and some matches and so forth, I think Bystial Branded tier is gonna be the best deck. So as you can see, we have upcoming selection pack Climax of the Showdown. It'll be released on June 8th, and these are the cards in here. We have Cartesia, which is like a crazy new extender for Branded. I will be showing you some of the things later with my actual cards already. I did actually play a lot of Branded already with these cards, so that should help you. Then we have the Bystials. Now, if you do not know what Bystials are, they are essentially like DD Crow, a hand trap, but on steroids. However, they pre-hit them really hard. I find it so odd that the Tearlaments were like barely hit, and then the Bystials were hit to 1 from the get-go. That is so weird. This is gonna make it way harder to make a Bystial Dragon Link deck, actually. Then we have Lubellion, which of course is the Bystial boss monster. We have Grand Guignol, probably the best Branded fusion, which is crazy, right? Because like you would think, oh, Mirror Jade, Albion, Lubellion, all these cool cards that, you know, really work with Branded fusion. But this card created so many combos, it is absolutely insanity. Then we have Bucephalos, basically gonna be a send target for Dogmatica Punishment. We have the champion Sargas, this is gonna be great for Punk Tyrion type decks. And then we have a Bizactor. Alright, so now let me actually show you the cards with my real cards right here. There we go. These are the major cards from this pack that we want to be paying attention to. Now, I am making like one big assumption, and that is that we are getting Bystial Baldrake as well. Now, if you don't know, basically when the Bystials first came out, we only received these 3. We got the Magnamut, the Druis Worm, and the Saranir. As you know, they already pre-hit these. So Magnamut and Druis Worm, pre-hit, Saranir not. However, later on, a 4th Bystial came out, the Baldrake, and Baldrake is actually incredible. But because Master Duel usually tends to keep support together, like they don't really split it up often, I'm going to assume it's gonna be part of this pack as well. So I think we're getting like this, but this Baldrake is an assumption. Everything else has been confirmed now. They're not gonna release Bystials without their spells. Again, that's also an assumption. So for Bystials, they all are level 6. They all have 2500 attack, 2000 defense. They are dark dragons, and they all have the effect that they can banish a light or dark from the graveyard, and then they are special summoned out. And if your opponent controls a monster, this is a quick effect, so then you can do it in your opponent's turn. So when your opponent activates a Tearlament name, you can chain a Bystial from your hand, banish the Tearlament name, and then it won't fuse. This is why this is great against Tearlaments. However, this is also great against other decks like Drytron, or basically any deck that needs darks and lights in their graveyard to function. Phantom Knight is also going to cry super hard as long as these are a thing. Now, beyond that effect, they also have secondary effects, and those secondary effects are actually the reason that some of them are better than others. The Magnamut can search for any dragon at the end of the turn. Any. That is crazy. This card is therefore now limited, which means if you were trying to do like a Bystial Dragon Link strategy with Magnamut as a searcher, you can no longer do that. So that hurts. Then we have Druis Worm. When this is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can destroy a special summoned monster. So that is also really strong. This is why usually people played 3 Magnamut, 1 Druis Worm, because then they could Magnamut, you know, do an interruption, search a Druis Worm as an interruption, and then get rid of it and destroy something again. So that was like the package. Now you can't really do it. Now it's going to be 1-1. Then we have Baldrake, actually also a very strong card. If your opponent special summons like a monster like Ritual, Synchro, Fusion, Xyz, and so forth, you can basically tribute a light or a dark from your own field and then banish that monster. So this is absolutely crazy. Like when I played in YCS Lyon, these were legal in the Tearlament deck. And so I was playing Tearlament. I was playing as Kashtira, which is a bad matchup, right? But if you would go like Halfness, so you have a dark on your field, and then Baldrake when they activate Dimension Shifter, then when they made an Xyz, you just go activate Baldrake, boop, gone, buy Xyz. I did that so much, it's actually disgusting. So that's super strong, of course, as well. And then finally Saranir. Saranir is generally seen as the weakest one because his effect is just that he can dump a Branded or a Bystial card from the deck to the graveyard. And while it is good in the Branded deck, and this is also why this is an absolute staple in the Branded deck, outside of Branded decks, it's kind of like whatever, you know, it really needs to be played in a Bystial deck to use its effect, whereas the other ones can be used in any deck, and you can still like get value from them. So these are the Bystials. Now, of course, if these are at 1, suddenly you need to start considering the weaker ones, right? If we do get Baldrake, I'm gonna think we're gonna be running 3 of this, 1 and 1, as long as Tyr is the best deck. But of course, if you want to run them outside of hand traps, you're gonna be wanting to look at these cards as well. Now, what do these do? Basically, Bystial Lubellion can search any of these Bystials. So you can discard this and then just search the one you need. The issue is this is not a quick effect. So if you go first, sure, you can go get your Magnamut, but then you will only be able to search with the Magnamut at the end of the turn, so it's always too late. However, if it's just to do Bystial combos, this is great. So inside a Bystial deck, you're going to be playing 3 of this. And then afterwards, what you can do is you can tribute one of your dragons on the field to get this back onto the field. And when it's on the field, you can get one of these 2 from your deck and place them instantly onto the field. This includes the trap card. It would instantly be phase up, so it's not actually as slow as you would think. Now, these 2 cards, Branded Regained and Branded Beast, have even more value. The Beast is essentially going to be a pop by tributing your dragons. So your opponent was like an important normal summon, you just go, okay, I guess I'll tribute my Druis Worm and then pop that normal summon. And now, since you sent the Druis Worm from your field to the graveyard, you can also kill something that was special summoned. So this is basically 2 pops in 1 if you have a Druis Worm on the field. This can also place a continuous branded card like Regained from your graveyard onto the field. So what you're basically going to try to do is you're going to use Saranir to dump the Regained into your graveyard. And then you're gonna use the Beast to place it back onto the board. That's why in a full Bystial deck, you are gonna be playing the Saranir for sure. So your goal is essentially to get these 2 out onto your board and then start playing with your Bystials. And by having these 2 on the board, you basically cannot lose, because this is constantly gonna pop stuff, including spells and traps, by the way. So Floodgates, you don't care at all. And then Regained is gonna be an endless value engine, because every time a light or dark is banished, you can actually shuffle it back and draw a card. This means that every time you activate a Bystial, you're going to be able to draw. Also, when your opponent summons a monster, you can revive one of your Bystials, which is going to be crucial because then you have something to tribute for Beast. And usually you're going to want to revive the Druis Worm because then you have 2 pops in 1 card. This basically created a new type of dragon deck. It's Bystial Dragon Link. So you're still doing all the Dragon Link combos, but now if you open a Bystial, you can, put that on top of your board. Chaos Space can also search for Lubellion. So this way, if you already opened your other dragon starters, you can basically Chaos Space into this engine as well. So this is really, really solid. I'd really added a new level to the Dragon Link board, because Dragon Link boards usually died to like a Dark Ruler no more, because you wouldn't really have much of a backline, but now you do have a backline as well. However, that is not all. Imagine thinking this was all. This card right here, Lubellion, is actually also crazy in Branded. I will show you the combos once we actually have it in game, but essentially your Branded fusion combos are going to completely change, because this card by himself will ensure you will always have a Branded Lost on the board, and it will also ensure that you still have your Mirror Jade Banish. This card completely changed how Branded is played. Speaking of how Branded is played, we also get these 2 new beauties. These cards are insane. Cartesia basically says that in the main phase, you can fuse with anything from your hand or field, and so this is like a polymerization on legs. She can also special summon herself if you have Fallen of Albaz in your graveyard. Also, if a fusion was sent to the graveyard this turn, she can bounce herself back from the graveyard to your hand. And then she's also the most important fusion material for Grand Guignol. And Grand Guignol, this card, again, I'm gonna do combo videos, so stay subscribed for that on this channel, but I'm gonna do combo videos once we get these cards. Essentially, this can dump any level 6 or higher dark or light from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. So you make this with Cartesia instantly, very easily, and then this can start sending all those Albaz fusions that have effects when they're in the graveyard, and then you just go crazy. So now if your Branded fusion gets ashed, you won't actually care as much anymore, because you will still have a board. You will still have interactions. You don't even need like the Edge Imp package and all of that anymore to actually play true stuff. This is actually a crazy card. Again, I'm going to be doing a lot of deck profiles. This also makes Tyr Branded even better, but then, without Ishizu cards. Now, 2 cards that you want to be aware of because of this new support is also going to be Fusion Deployment and Branded Retribution. So why? Basically, Fusion Deployment can special summon out this Cartesia from your deck. So you're really gonna want to have the 3 deployment, because that makes it you don't have to normal summon her, you don't need an Albaz in the graveyard and so forth. And basically you can ensure that you have all the things you need without resolving Branded Fusion. And then also Branded Retribution. You're not really going to be using this as an interruption, but more so because Saranir, our new Bystial friend, can dump branded cards from the deck to the graveyard. You're always going to be dumping the Branded Retribution, and then the Branded Retribution can banish itself to add a branded spell from your graveyard to your hand. So this, in combination with Albion, basically ensures that you can search any branded card very easily, even under draw. And you can also just recycle your resources. So we see in branded decks very often this ratio tech. 1 Saranir, 1 Retribution, 1 Lubellion, because together it's just like 3 value. So this is basically gonna be the major changes coming to Master Duel. I'm actually very hyped, and the reason is that back when Ishizu tier was the best deck, Bystial Branded was secretly a very good counter. And not a lot of people were aware of this, not a lot of people were really respecting this, but this deck could really just nuke tiers because of the amount of Bystials they could play without making their engine worse, because their engine wanted to play Bystials anyway. And now we can play like full power tier cards in here as well. We will even have the Cartesia. My hot take is actually this. I think Bystial Branded tier will be a better deck than tier Ishizu when these cards drop. Yeah, that's a hot take. But I think with the Ishizu hits, together with this will just be slightly better. And also, Branded doesn't actually care about Exo Sister and the Abyss Dweller floodgates and all of that stuff. I think you're gonna be really impressed once this drops. I'm very excited to do combo videos for it and so forth. So of course, be subscribed for that. They are coming. In 1 week exactly, we're gonna go ham. I will see you soon. Ciao.